Hello everyone, I'm Councilman Hassan Ahmad and I would like to welcome you to WDHT Cares, and I have with me today our wonderful assessor, Kim Comer.
Hi.
Kim, thank you so much for being here today. I know the assessment has been mailed to all residents and I'm pretty sure a lot of residents have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And if you be kind enough, would you please explain the difference between assessed value and taxable value?
Sure, yeah. So everyone will probably be getting their notices close to the end of February, if not the first week in March. And those notices have two very important values, like you stated, the assessed and taxable value. The first number, the assessed value, that is a number that is deemed to be 50% of what your property is worth in the market. So if your assessment says it's $50,000, we are assuming you could sell your house for about $100,000 in today's current market. The second thing you're looking at is the taxable value. That taxable value is the number that is multiplied by the millage rate, which is what people vote on, to get how much you owe in taxes every year. The taxable value is a calculated figure, and that number is your last year's taxable value minus anything you've removed from the house. So say you demoed a deck, that deck price would come off, times the rate of inflation, and then you would add on, after the rate of inflation, anything that you added to your property. So if you put say an addition worth $50,000, you'd have $25,000 additional taxable value that would be added to that number.
Excellent. I know that people always ask about the homestead exemption. Can we go briefly over the homestead exemption?
Absolutely. The homestead exemption is, when you use the word homestead, that's actually referring to a credit you get on your income tax. That is the term that used to be used for the principal residence exemption, and that's what we do here in the city. And that's what you'll see on your change of assessment notice and on your tax bills. It'll say like PRE, principal residence exemption, and it'll have a percentage, either 0 or 50 or 100%. And basically what that is as an owner in Michigan, you're entitled to one of your properties as a primary residence. So when you claim it as a primary residence, you as that owner are now exempt from a portion of taxes, and you are entitled to that on one property.
Excellent, thank you. As a real estate agent, I know the prices in 2022 it did go up a bit, and so a lot of people are asking about uncapping. Can we go over uncapping a little bit?
Yeah, uncapping is part of that taxable value. So your first full year of ownership is when your property uncaps. So if I bought a property in 2021, in 2022, your taxable value uncaps. What that means is your taxes for that first full year of ownership are based on the value of that property in the market. So if 2022 is your first year of ownership, your assessed and taxable value should be exactly the same.
We become equal.
Yes.
Definitely. That's excellent. So is there any changes in the assessment notice this year, or still?
The notice should be pretty similar. The state did update the notice a little bit. There's going to be a section there that it actually won't go into effect until 24 probably.
Okay.
That says what the change was caused by. So if you built a new house, it would say new construction, or if you did an addition, it would say something like that on there. And otherwise it'll just say something like market rate, because most values only change because of the market. Most people aren't doing things to their house every year.
And it does mention on the assessment notice that residents, they have the right to appeal the assessment. So can you tell us more about the appeal or the Board of Review?
Sure. Yeah, on your assessment notice, it'll have a section at the bottom that'll have your March Board of Review dates and times. And the March Board of Review is one of 3 boards of review of the year, but the March Board is the only board that has the authority to hear assessment appeals. So we'll all send a letter to your house, and if I say, I believe your house is worth $100,000, and you believe that I think it should be 80, a house nearby me sold for 80, that seems better, I want to appeal. So what you can either do is write in to the Board of Review or call and make an appointment, and we can schedule you to see the Board of Review. You would present your evidence of why you believe the value is incorrect, and then the Board of Review, which is a separate body from our government offices, can make a decision on that. And that's your opportunity as a homeowner or a property owner to have your value heard.
Okay.
And if you disagree with the decision you get from the March Board of Review, you then have the right to take that on to the state, and that's called the Michigan Tax Tribunal.
Okay.
So as a homeowner, you have two chances to appeal. You have to first go to the March Board, and if you don't like the response you got from the March Board, then after that you have the right to take it on to the Michigan Tax
I
Tribunal.
know you mentioned just the homeowners. Does that mean the March Board of Review only sees home cases, assessment? Or do they see commercial too, or?
The Board of Review actually has the authority to see any type of property.
Real estate,
They
okay.
can see commercial, but commercial property is treated a little bit differently under the law. Commercial property owners actually do not have to come to the March Board of Review. They have the ability to go straight on through to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. I do always recommend coming to the March Board first. We have very educated board members who work in real estate, and so they are capable of determining commercial value, and it saves a little money. If you're a commercial property owner, there is a fee to go right to tribunal, but there is no fee to come to the March Board.
Thank you, Kim. And I know the assessment always says that it's affected by the rate of inflation multiplier. Can we explain that too, please?
Sure. Like I stated earlier, the taxable value, which is a calculation, is your previous year's value times the rate of inflation. That rate of inflation is set by the State Tax Commission and given to all of the assessors throughout the entire state. This year, the rate of inflation in reality would have been 7.9. But because of the law that was passed in 1994, it's capped at 5%.
Is that Proposal A?
That is Proposal A from 94.
Okay.
Yep. And so they cannot increase the taxes more than 5%. However, we are at that 5% threshold for the 2023 tax year.
Kim, since you mentioned the inflation rate multiplier is 5% for 2023, do you mind sharing what was it for 2022?
Yeah, for 2022, it was 3.3%. So we are higher than the previous years. That has been the trend over the past 3 years. Rate of inflation's been going up.
Okay, so is this going to affect everybody? Like people are capped and people are
So this will affect people who have not uncapped for the
Okay.
tax year. So if you purchased your property in 21, you don't have to worry about the rate of inflation because your taxable is going to be based on
Then
what
you
your
ass-
assessed is.
assessed value.
Yes.
So Kim, I know there was a recent law change for businesses' personal property tax. Can we go over that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So prior to the 2023 tax year, businesses that had under $80,000 worth of equipment could be exempt from the personal property tax. All you had to do is file the small business tax exemption one time, and then you don't have to file anything in the future. However, they changed the threshold this year. So when in the past it was only up to $80,000, this year, if you have between $80,000 and $180,000 worth of equipment for your business, you have to file a regular statement like you normally do, but then you can also file the small business exemption and be exempt from taxes. So that's new. Any business that had equipment between the value of $80,000 and $180,000 can now become exempt.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kim, for all the valuable information. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope we were able to answer all your questions. Stay classy, Dearborn Heights.